Outside the building, as the press swarmed and reporters cheered the miracle resurrection, Kierra slipped away into the rain. Her phone buzzed an unknown number. She answered, her voice trembling. "Who is this?" Silence. Then that same low voice from the night of the fire whispered, "You shouldn't have come to the conference." Her hand went numb. "What do you want from me?" A pause. Then the voice said, "The truth always returns, Kierra, just like the dead." Click. She stood frozen, thunder rumbling in the distance. And somewhere in the city, the man she once loved, or his ghost, I was watching her again. The city was drenched in silver morning light when Kierra woke from another dream she couldn't escape. The dream was always the same: Eunho standing at the edge of the fire, reaching out for her. Only this time, when she took his hand, it was Eunwoo's eyes staring back. She jolted upright, heart hammering. The sheets were damp with sweat, the air heavy with silence. It had been 2 weeks since the miraculous return of Eunho Kong, and every day since, Kierra had felt like she was living in a lie. Kierra watched the morning news replay at the press conference again. There he was, the man the world believed was Eunho, smiling, answering questions, and speaking with the same calm confidence his brother once had. But she knew that smile. She knew that it wasn't his. "He's pretending," she whispered. "But why?" Her phone buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. "Meet me at the old bridge. 9 p.m. Come alone." Her breath caught. The same initial as before. Her mind screamed, "Don't go." But her heart whispered, "You have to." The night air was cold, sharp with the scent of rain. The old bridge stretched across the river to the same place where Eunho once told her he loved her for the first time. She arrived early. The city lights shimmered in the dark water below. Then a figure stepped from the shadows. He wore a black coat, collar up, hair damp. The same familiar outline that haunted her dreams. "You came," he said softly. "You told me to," she replied. "Why? What do you want from me?" He studied her eyes, unreadable, voice low. "To know what you remember." "About what?" "About the fire. About that night. About him." Her chest tightened. "I remember everything. I remember running back to find him. I remember the smoke, the screams, and I remember you standing there in the flames." He nodded slowly, rain dripping from his lashes. "Then you remember more than most." "What does that mean?" He looked away. "They said the fire was an accident. But you and I know better." Kierra's voice trembled. "If you know something, tell me." "If I did," he said, stepping closer, "you'd never look at me the same way again." She stared at him, really stared, and for the first time, she noticed the smallest details that separated him from Eunho. Eunho's left hand had a tiny scar between his fingers from fixing her bracelet once. This man's didn't. His cologne was different, his movements sharper. Everything about him screamed same face, different soul. "You're not him," she said finally. A flicker of something passed through his eyes, relief, maybe even sorrow. "No," he whispered. "I'm not." She took a step back, heart breaking all over again. "Then why wear his name? Why make the world believe you're him?" He smiled at a slow, dangerous curve. "Because someone had to finish what he started. And because it's the only way to protect you." "Protect me? From who?" His gaze hardened. "From the people who killed him." That night Kierra couldn't sleep. His words replayed in her mind like static. To the people who killed him. It wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up. By morning, she was already digging through old case files and news reports. Most of them said the same thing: gas leak explosion at Kong Industries' private residence. But one report, buried deep online, caught her attention from an anonymous source claiming the fire was a deliberate purge. Her hands shook as she clicked the attached image. A blurry photo of 2 men arguing in the rain the night before the fire. Eunho, and beside him Eunwoo. That evening, Kierra drove to the old Kong estate, now abandoned, left in ruins. The burned walls still smelled faintly of smoke, and the grand staircase was charred and broken. As she walked through the remains, memories flooded back: Eunho's laughter echoing through the halls, the piano by the window, his promise. No matter what happens, I'll always find my way back to you. Her eyes filled with tears. You kept your promise, she whispered, but not in the way I wanted. Then she saw a half-burned photograph lying near the ashes of what used to be the study. It showed both brothers standing beside their father, and behind them, a woman Kierra had never seen before, written on the back, "The truth lies with her." She drove straight to the company's headquarters. She didn't care about security, didn't care about rules. She needed answers. When the elevator doors opened on the top floor, there was Eun-woo, or the man pretending to be Eun-ho, standing by the window, phone in hand. He turned, eyes darkening as he saw her. "Kierra, who is she?" she demanded, throwing the photograph at his chest. "The woman in this picture." He caught it, his jaw tightening. "Where did you get this?" "The ruins. You said you wanted me to remember. So tell me who she is." He was silent for a long time. Then he said quietly, "Our mother." Kierra froze. "Your what?" "But the file said that she died when we were 10, he finished. "That's what they wanted everyone to believe." He turned to the window, his reflection fractured by the glass. She was the first to uncover what the Kong Corporation was really doing. When she tried to expose it, they erased her. And my brother, he took her place. "So the fire wasn't an accident," he said flatly. "It was a warning." Kierra's world tilted. "Then why are you telling me this now?" He looked at her, and this time, there was no mask, no performance. Only exhaustion. "Because I don't know how long I can keep pretending to be him." Kierra stepped closer, voice soft. "Then stop pretending." "I can't," he whispered. "If I do, everything he died for will burn again. The company, the truth, you." She looked into his eyes, eyes that once felt like home, now filled with pain. "You think wearing his face protects me? It's killing me, Eun-woo." For a long moment he said nothing. Then, quietly, he reached out his hand, trembling, and brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Every time I look at you, I remember him," he said. "And every time you look at me, you remember what you lost. So what are we supposed to do?" He smiled sadly. "Keep pretending, until the truth is ready to be heard." The rain began to fall again outside, soft against the glass. And as they stood there, two souls caught between love and ghosts, Kierra realized the hardest part wasn't losing the man she loved. It was loving the one who came back to his place. The photograph wouldn't leave Kierra's mind. Even as she drove home through the dark streets of Seoul, headlights slicing through the mist, that half-burned image haunted her, the woman's face, half lost to fire, half captured in light. She had eyes like Eun-ho's, the same sadness, the same quiet strength. And the words on the back, "The truth lies with her," felt like a curse. By morning, Kierra was already sitting in front of her laptop, digging through every old record she could find on the Kong family. Most files were sealed. Some pages had been wiped completely. But then she found it, a charity article from 20 years ago. Mrs. Kong Soo-min, philanthropist and co-founder of Kong Industries' medical research division, disappeared without trace. A date, a photo, the same woman from the burned picture. Kierra whispered the name like it might open a door. Soo-min. Her phone buzzed suddenly. A message from an unknown number. "Stop looking for her. You're digging your own grave." Her blood turned cold. Later that day, she stormed into the Kong Tower, fury masking her fear. Eun-woo was in the boardroom, surrounded by executives with the perfect image of calm authority. When he saw her, his expression faltered for just a second. "Everyone, give us a moment," he said. The room emptied quickly. As soon as the door shut, Kierra threw the photograph on the table. "Someone just threatened me because of this," she snapped. "You said she was your mother. Who would want to hide her?" Eun-woo's jaw tightened. "You should have stopped when I told you." "No, you told me to remember. And now that I do, you're scared." He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. "Kierra, this isn't a game. The people who covered up that fire control everything. The company, the police, even the media. And you still chose to wear his face?" Because I need access, he said, voice low. To find her. To finish what he couldn't. Kierra stepped closer, her eyes fierce. Then let me help. You already have, he said quietly. Just by surviving. That night, she broke into Eunho's old study at the mansion ruins. The air was heavy with dust and memories. She remembered how he used to sit there, glasses on, always scribbling in his leather notebook. She found the safe behind a cracked panel on the wall. The code came to her instinctively on their anniversary. Inside, papers, old letters, and a flash drive burned around the edges. She plugged it into her laptop. A folder popped open. Project Phoenix. Her heartbeat quickened. Video files, documents, photos. She clicked on the first one, a grainy recording of Eunho, speaking directly into the camera. If you're seeing this, his voice said, it means they finally did it. Kong Industries isn't what it looks like. We were experimenting not on medicine but on memory. On human memory. Kierra froze. Memory? He continued, eyes filled with fear. They erased hers. My mother's. And now they're trying to erase mine. If anything happens to me, look for the woman in the photograph. She's the key. The screen flickered static, then darkness. The door burst open behind her. Eunwoo stood there, breathless, eyes blazing. What did you do? He demanded. You knew about this? Kierra asked, rising to her feet. You knew what they were doing to people? I was trying to stop it, he snapped. But he caught himself, voice breaking. He went too far. Too far trying to tell the truth? Too far trusting the wrong people, he said bitterly. The fire was meant to destroy that file. Kierra's hand trembled. And now they'll come for me. They already are. Within hours, everything spiraled. Her apartment was broken into. Her phone, tracked. Her name leaked to the press. Kierra Han, former associate of Late Kong Air, involved in a corporate data breach. The headlines burned through the internet. She couldn't go home. She couldn't go to the police. Eunwoo found her hiding at a motel by the river. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. You shouldn't have come after me, she said quietly. And let you disappear like him? He said, stepping closer. Not again. He dropped a small bag on the bed, cash, new IDs, and 2 passports. We're leaving Seoul tonight. Where will we go? Where she went, he said. To the place they erased her. Kierra looked at him really. Under the exhaustion, under the guilt, there was still that trace of the man she once loved. Or maybe she just wanted to see him there. When this is over, she said softly, who will you be? Him? You? Eunwoo's voice cracked. Maybe both. Maybe neither. He turned to the window, city lights reflecting off his face. But I'll find her. And when I do, maybe we'll finally understand why she vanished. Why he had to die. Kierra took a shaky breath. Then I'm coming with you. Kierra, don't tell me to stay behind. I've already lost him once. I won't lose you the same way. Their eyes met, full of grief, defiance, and something still unspoken. Outside, thunder rumbled, the kind that feels like a warning. Fine, he whispered. But whatever we find, remember, you asked to know the truth. They left that night, 2 souls carrying ghosts, driving into the rain, chasing a woman the world had forgotten. Somewhere in the shadows, a voice whispered through static. She's not lost. She's waiting. And for the first time, Kierra realized maybe the dead don't always stay dead. The rain followed them all the way out of Seoul. It came in waves, soft, steady, endless, as if the sky itself refused to let them forget. By the time the car rolled into Hanul-ri, a small coastal town buried in fog and whispers, Kierra felt like she'd crossed into another world. The GPS showed nothing but empty roads. The streetlights flickered. The town seemed half asleep or half abandoned. It's like time stopped here, Kierra murmured. Eunwoo's hands tightened around the steering wheel. That's what they wanted, he said. To bury her where no one would remember. They passed a rusted sign at the edge of town. Welcome to Hanul-ri, where memories live forever. The irony sent a chill through Kierra's veins. They stopped at a small roadside inn called the Silver Shore. A bell chimed as they stepped in the air smelling of old wood and salt water. The innkeeper, an elderly woman with clouded eyes, looked up from her counter. "You're not from around here," she said. "We're looking for someone," Unwoo replied. "Kang Soo-min. She might have lived here years ago." At the mention of the name, the woman froze just for a heartbeat before forcing a smile. "Never heard of her," she said quickly. "No one by that name's been here." Kierra caught the flicker of fear in her eyes. "Then maybe you've seen this," she said, holding out the half-burned photograph. The woman's hand trembled slightly. "I think you should go," she whispered. "Some names are better forgotten." Before Kierra could ask more, a man appeared from the hallway, tall, quiet, with a fisherman's tan and an unreadable face. "Everything okay, Mrs. Han?" he asked. "Yes, Mr. Park," the woman said quickly. "They were just leaving." Unwoo took Kierra's arm gently. "Come on," he said softly. "We'll try another way." But as they walked out, Kierra could feel it, eyes watching from behind the curtains. Everyone in this town knew something, and everyone was afraid to speak. They drove down to the beach at dusk. The tide was low, the horizon tinted gold and violet. Wind whipped through Kierra's hair as she walked along the sand, trying to quiet her thoughts. "What if she really was here?" she said. "What if she's still alive?" Unwoo stared at the waves. "Then we have to ask why she never came back. Maybe she couldn't." He looked at her, tired, haunted. "Or maybe she chose not to." Kierra turned away, her voice trembling. No mother would choose to disappear unless she had to. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Only the sound of the ocean answered. Later that night, Kierra found an old map of the town in a drawer at the inn. One corner was marked faintly with ink Hanul Cemetery. Something in her gut told her to go. Under the cover of night, she and Unwoo walked through the misty streets until they reached the hill overlooking the sea. Rows of weathered tombstones stood in silence, half swallowed by fog. And there, near the edge, she saw it. A grave marked only by a cracked stone. No flowers, no dates, just a name. Kang SM. Kierra's heart stopped. "Soo-min," she whispered, tracing the carved initials with shaking fingers. Unwoo stood beside her, his face unreadable. "If she's here, then who's been watching us?" she finished softly, because there in the distance she saw a flicker of light. Someone was standing at the edge of the cemetery, holding a lantern. Kierra took a cautious step forward. The figure didn't move. "Hello?" she called out. "Do you know her?" "Kang Soo-min." The figure lowered the lantern, and for the briefest second, the light revealed her face. Older, paler, eyes hollow but familiar. "No," Kierra whispered. "It can't be." The woman turned and disappeared into the fog. Unwoo grabbed her hand. "Kierra, wait!" But Kierra was already running, her heart pounding, chasing the ghost of the woman she'd just seen. They followed the light through the trees, down a hidden path that led to a small, forgotten cottage by the cliffs. Inside, everything was covered in dust except for one table, where a single candle still burned. On the wall hung photographs of dozens of them, some of Eunho, some of Unwoo, and one of her. Kierra covered her mouth, trembling. "She's been watching us." They found journals scattered on the floor, filled with sketches and formulas, each page stamped Phoenix Project. Unwoo picked one up and flipped through it. "This handwriting," he whispered. "It's hers." Kierra read the final entry aloud. "They think they erased me, but they don't understand memory isn't just data. It's soul. If you find this, don't let them finish what they started. The twins were never meant to be separated." Kierra's breath caught. The twins never meant to be separated? Unwoo's eyes widened. What does that mean? A low hum filled the air, a sound like distant electricity. The candle flickered. Kierra looked toward the doorway and froze. A figure stood there, drenched from the rain. The same face she'd seen at the cemetery. "Who are you?" Kierra whispered. The woman stepped closer, voice shaking like wind through broken glass. "I'm the one they erased. And if you're here, it's already too late." Before Kierra could speak, The light in the cottage flickered violently. Unwoo grabbed her arm, pulling her back as the old generator in the corner sparked to life. Screens lit up along the wall faces, names, data streams. Project Phoenix wasn't about memory loss. It was about memory transfer. They copied her consciousness, Kierra realized, horror dawning. She wasn't erased. She was rewritten. The woman's eyes glowed faintly under the flickering light. I tried to stop them, she said. But they made me the experiment. You're not real, Kierra asked. I was, the woman whispered, until they made me forget who I was. The candle went out. Darkness swallowed the room, and Kierra felt it then, the cold breath of something ancient and unfinished. The town hadn't just forgotten Sumin. It had buried her inside something much worse. The night wind howled through the broken windows of the cliffside cottage. Kierra stood frozen in the dark, the taste of salt and fear on her tongue. A moment ago, the woman claiming to be Sumin had vanished into shadow, leaving only the echo of her words. Unwoo found the generator switch and forced it back on. The screens flickered weakly, revealing fragmented data, brain scans, timestamps, and audio files labeled Subject S01. Kierra's voice shook. She said they made her an experiment. Does that mean she's alive? Not in the way we understand, Unwoo murmured, scrolling through the data. These files aren't medical. They're neural recordings, consciousness mapping. One video played by itself. A younger Sumin sat in a lab chair, wires attached to her temples. If they succeed, asterisk, she said to the camera, asterisk, my memories will be copied into a host body. I might not remember who I am, but a part of me will survive. Asterisk. Kierra's knees went weak. A host body? Someone walking around right now, Unwoo whispered, carrying her mind without knowing it. Searching the cottage, Kierra found a framed photo half hidden under fallen debris. It showed Sumin holding two infants, the twins. But on the back of the photo was a single symbol burned into the wood. A phoenix surrounded by binary code. The same mark as the project name, she said. Project Phoenix. A rebirth, Unwoo replied. They didn't just want to preserve her. They wanted to create new life from memory. The thought twisted in Kierra's chest. If Sumin's consciousness survived, then whose body carried her now? And why was that person hiding in Hanul-ri? At dawn, they found a small clinic on the edge of town, abandoned except for a few dusty records. Inside, Kierra discovered a ledger of patient names. Most pages were blank, except for one. Patient 04 Han Myri. Next to the name, someone had written, asterisk, caretaker of the Phoenix. Unwoo frowned. That name, I've seen it before. She worked at our family's research branch before the fire. Then she's the one, Kierra said. The host. They followed the trail to a house near the cliffs, its garden overgrown with wild lilies. When the door creaked open, a woman in her 50s stepped out, gentle eyes, kind smile, but something about her face made Kierra's heart stutter. Can I help you? The woman asked politely, her voice soft, musical, painfully familiar. Han Myri, Kierra whispered. Yes. We're looking for someone, Kang Sumin. The woman's smile faltered. For a heartbeat, her eyes seemed to flicker recognition, grief, confusion. I don't know that name, she said quietly, but her hand clutched her chest, as though it hurt to lie. That night, Kierra returned alone. The door to Myri's house was ajar. Inside, the woman sat at a piano, playing a tune Kierra hadn't heard since childhood, her mother's lullaby. Kierra's voice trembled. Where did you learn that song? Myri's fingers paused on the keys. I don't know, she whispered. Sometimes it just comes back to me in dreams. Kierra stepped closer. Do you ever dream of fire? The woman's eyes filled with tears. Every night. Suddenly the lights flickered. Myri clutched her head in pain, gasping as flashes of memory burst through a laboratory. The roar of flames, two boys crying. They said I'd forget, she sobbed. They said it would keep me safe. Kierra knelt beside her. You remember, don't you? You are her. No, Myri whispered, trembling. I'm just what's. Unwoo burst through the door, phone in hand. We need to leave, they found us. Black vans rolled up outside, headlights cutting through the mist. Men in suits poured out, armed and efficient. Myri's voice changed lower, steadier, eerily familiar. Go, she said, grabbing Kierra's wrist. They're coming for the data inside me. Inside you? Unwoo asked. I'm the archive, she said. Every secret, every memory they tried to destroy, it's all here. She pressed a flash drive into Kierra's hand. Take this. Find the original source file, the root memory. It's the only way to end it. The door burst open. Unwoo pulled Kierra behind him as gunfire cracked the night. When the smoke cleared, Myri was gone, the house empty, the piano still echoing her unfinished melody. The world above Seoul moved on. Cars passed. People laughed. Neon lights blinked like the city had never known the name Project Phoenix. But underground, beneath layers of steel and silence, one experiment had ended and another had quietly begun. Kierra sat on the rooftop of the small hospital overlooking the Han River, wrapped in a pale blue blanket. The bandages on her arm itched under the morning sun, but she didn't care. Her heart still beat, and that alone felt like a miracle. Unwoo hadn't woken yet. The doctors said his vitals were stable, but his mind, in between, they didn't know the truth. That his mind was fighting to rebuild itself from fragments of two lives, one human, one created. Kierra visited him every morning. She'd bring white lilies, place them on the table, and talk softly like he could hear her. You said memory is soul, she murmured once. So maybe yours is just finding its way back. Outside the window, the river glimmered. Sometimes she thought she saw a reflection beside her mother's calm eyes, watching, proud, at peace. On the 40th day, a nurse brought her an envelope. No name, no return address. Inside was a single photograph, the one she'd found at the cottage, and a small note written in her mother's handwriting. You did what I couldn't. You let go. And below it, one more line that made her heart stop. When he wakes, tell him his heart was never an experiment. Kierra clutched the letter, tears falling onto the page. For the first time, she didn't feel broken. She felt whole. That night, as rain whispered against the glass, Unwoo stirred. Kierra was dozing beside his bed when his fingers brushed her hand. Kierra. Her head shot up. Unwoo. His eyes opened slowly, tired, confused, but warm. You came back, he whispered. I never left, she said, voice trembling. He blinked, looking at her like he was seeing sunlight for the first time. I remember the fire, the lab, your mother, but there's something else. You, she smiled through tears. Then that's enough. Forget the rest. He reached up, touching her cheek with unsteady fingers. No, you're the one thing I'll never forget. Their foreheads met, not as forbidden lovers, not as victims of science, but as two souls that refused to be erased. Weeks passed. They left Seoul quietly, driving until the noise faded and the world grew green again. The road led them back to the coast, to the ruins of the cliffside cottage where it all began. Wind swept through the charred remains, carrying the scent of sea and ash. Kierra knelt beside the burned piano. Inside its cracked frame lay something glimmering, a tiny data chip, untouched by the fire. Unwoo picked it up. The last backup, he said. Should we destroy it? He looked at the horizon, the place where sky kissed the sea. No. Some memories deserve to sleep, not burn. He tossed the chip into the waves. It sank slowly, catching the light like a falling star. Kierra took his hand. So this is where it ends? He smiled softly. No, this is where we begin, without ghosts, without codes. Just us. Years later, a young boy ran along that same coastline, chasing paper boats across the tide. His laughter carried through the wind. Behind him, Kierra watched, her hair longer, her smile lighter. Unwoo stood beside her, older, the scar on his temple fading like a forgotten dream. The boy turned and shouted, Mom! Dad! Look! It's floating back. A single paper boat returned to shore, wet but unbroken. Kierra picked it up and unfolded it. Inside, written in faint, faded ink, were words she hadn't seen in years. Memory is soul, and the soul never dies. She looked at Unwoo. He smiled the kind that reached the eyes, gentle and full of peace. And in that quiet moment, as the sea whispered against the sand, she finally understood. They weren't survivors of a tragedy. They were the proof that even after everything burns, love remembers. Thanks for watching. If you like the story, please like and share. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more updates. Drop a comment with your location so I can create more stories just for you.